Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For a lot of people that don't know about the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, I'll give a quick little recap of what's going on. So basically, Johnny Depp filed a lawsuit against, his ex-wife Amber Heard in 2018 because she wrote this thing in the Washington Post out of the blue. Okay, so they divorced normally, nothing came up, and then she randomly referred to herself as a public figure and a victim of domestic abuse. So obviously you guys can imagine how this would affect Johnny Depp's, credibility, his PR, his reputation, because you have a woman who's claiming to be a victim of this whole hashtag Me Too thing, and she's been, just divorced from major actor Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, presumably claims he has nothing to do with this. There's no proof on this, and this just came willy nilly. She didn't mention Johnny Depp by name whatsoever, but it's kind of obvious, bro, who you're throwing shade against. So Johnny Depp sued her for 50 million for defamation, damaging his reputation, his career, and everything. And he's denied any claims of abuse or anything like that. And then Amber Heard countersued Johnny Depp for 100 million. She said that Johnny Depp is lying. So basically, they did this whole ass trial. They did everything. They found Amber Heard using a bruise kit. They found proof that Amber Heard herself was the one actually physically abusing and being violent against Johnny Depp. And the more proof that comes up, they're finding questionable stuff. There's a guy, Jason Momoa, who played Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. Apparently, Amber Heard was also violent to Jason Momoa's daughter. So there's a lot of stuff not looking good for her, and they kind of left it to the jury, basically, right? So it's in terms of what the verdict's gonna be. Inshallah, the truth comes out.
They clearly said that shows you that we all desperately need Islam. Because look what happens when you don't have Islam. Look at a society that has no guidelines, that has no rules, that doesn't know right from wrong, that is basically they're in it for themselves and they don't want for another what they want for themselves. Look at what happens. You have women that go out here and blatantly lie. They're blatantly lying because they want to be one up. They want to have maybe a status, maybe it's money, or maybe they just want to do the other person dirty because they feel these negative emotions and they want to get vengeance on this person. Like there's so many things that are happening where it's like people need to wake up and smell the roses. People need to see that like if you continue living life like this without any guidelines, like it's not an actual better life. Like you might think it's better because you are gratifying yourself with these instant things, like you might be eating excessively, you might be drinking, you might be doing drugs, you might be doing um, psychedelics, you might be going to nightclubs, you might be going to strip clubs, you might be doing all this stuff, and to you it seems very gratifying and very good, but keep doing it for a while. See how gratifying it is a few years down the line.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, subhanAllah. So we can basically clearly see that she completely defamed him, that she did lie. And although there was a court hearing in the UK, and they have, I think, different laws, and people have speculated about that, where Johnny Depp lost that case, I think the evidence shows very clearly that she lied. And not only did she lie, but she falsified evidence and lied under oath as well, by the looks of it. And in the West, I'm not sure what happens when you lie, right? When you falsely accuse someone of something and blah, 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 whatever. In this case, she lost a $50 million lawsuit. If she doesn't have that money, by the way, she doesn't pay it. She just basically loses the case, as far as I know. In Islam, when you slander someone, you pay a physical price. In some cases, if you even allude to kind of slandering someone, for example, I can go and say, oh, this person had sex with that person outside of marriage, without any proof at all or anything. I'm basically accusing them of a major sin. I would be lashed 80 times for publicly stating that. That's how seriously we take people's honor and dignity and, not slandering people in Islam. And on top of that, in this case, I had a really good point, bro. SubhanAllah. I don't know where my mind is. You guys,
Rami.
Listen, people that say Sharia law is violent and physical, okay, but how many cases actually lead to your hand getting cut off, lashing? How many cases actually do? And how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of cases don't happen because they knew about the severe consequences of when it does happen. See, in the West, people don't actually fear the law, they fear getting caught with the law. Everyone's speeding, no one cares, they just slow down near a cop. Everyone's doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, going against the law, just because they know they're not going to get booked. But imagine a system where you know if you did get caught, the punishment's going to be so severe that you're going to regret and rue the day that you ever thought doing it would be a good idea. And if you don't get caught, then Allah is going to hold you accountable. I would take the latter one, bro.
Yeah, 100%. And if you look at basically the thing is, I remember what I was gonna say, but it ties into what I said before you gave your point.
No
So now
worries,
it's
bro.
gonna be a weird sandwich, but
It's okay. I like sandwiches.
if I were to even allude to somebody, having sex with someone else outside of marriage, and be like, oh, this person, that person, they, even that could be enough for me to get lashed. Now, what am I saying here? What I'm saying here is that there are very specific values that we have that unfortunately is just not taken seriously in the West. How many people have been bullied over a rumor? Even, taken their own life because of a rumor or something that's been heavily exaggerated, where everyone just started hating them. This happened in the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Not where someone ended their life because of it, but Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was accused by hypocrites of doing a sin. And subhanAllah, she was so, I guess, ashamed of everything that happened that she narrated the entire story herself, not once saying what the rumor actually was. She narrated the entire story, but never actually mentioned what the rumor was. We know what it was from other narrations. That's how much it hurt her. When she's telling the story, she couldn't even bring herself to say it. So what is the point? The point is that if you live life of little to no consequences, then you will have negative consequences. What do I mean? I don't mean that you do bad, you get bad. I mean, you do bad and you affect people negatively. In Islam, and there's narrations about it, the punishment for rape is death. The punishment for rape is death, not a decade in jail, not a year in jail, and then death. It is death. You're found guilty, you're put to death basically right away when there's evidence. The price for slandering someone is you get lashed, and so on and so forth. If you don't have these rulings, you have what we have in here. You have basically people wronging other people. You have people being abused. You have people being defamed. You have people being raped. You have people being murdered. You have people being robbed. And it's like, whatever. And most of these actually are done by the same person because you have second and third time offenders. Imagine if the punishment was so severe, they never even thought about it again. They were that traumatized. And that's how traumatized we should make some of these criminals who are found guilty. Not the ones where there's no evidence, but when the evidence is there, hit them where it hurts. They won't do it again.
That's what it is,
For
guys.
example,
Hit them where it hurts. T-shirts and mugs come into a store near you. Don't take it out of context now, YouTube. We're not talking about anything like that. But Anghel, go on, bro.
I was gonna say, for example, like if you have someone who steals, right, in Sharia, cut the hand off. If there's evidence, if there's legit evidence, and for some reason this person, like, they weren't really in need of this thing, but they stole it anyways, like, they're getting the hand chopped off. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I ever got my hand chopped off, I probably would never steal again. Not only because physically I'd be like handicapped and I wouldn't be able to steal again, but like because I wouldn't want my other hand to get chopped off. And it's like every time I look, I got a little nub. I don't even have a hand anymore. So I'm like, damn, like that's what I did, you know, like I earned this. And if let's say I never did that, let's say someone else stole and then that happened to them, if I saw their hand get chopped off because they stole, I would definitely think twice. Actually, more than that. I would never actually think about coming near this act of stealing, bro. So it's like this is why Islam is so important.
And if I read the descriptions of Jahannam and the specific punishments for various sins, bro, that takes it a step further now.
Yeah.
Yes, subhanAllah. And I think one last note I want to touch on, because I don't think I explained this part of things, is that going off the example Anghel gave when it comes to stealing, it's not just that, you're accused of stealing, boom, your hand is gone. I'll give a few of the rules behind it. So firstly, it has to be an item of value. right? You don't. There's no such thing as you stole grass from someone's yard and your hand chopped off. You need to, like the brother mentioned, not be in need of it. If you steal food because you're starving, which by the way shouldn't even happen in Islamic Sharia that has a decent economy, because we feed and take care of our poor, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, did and encouraged us to, which is mandatory in Islam, by the way. Then if you steal it for food because you need it, your hand's not cut off. If you one of the requirements is that it needs to be taken from a place of security. So like, stealing a car out of a garage or off someone's property, stealing jewels from a vault or from someone's purse. And on top of that, you need to refuse to give it back. Who in their right mind is going to refuse to give it back when they're told, give it back or your hands can be chopped off? So that's how just Islam is. That's how just Islam is. And that is just basically the last straw. After all these boxes are checked, boom, hand is cut off. So people with a sound mind, and by the way, that's another prerequisite. They have to have a sound mind. If you're insane, it doesn't count. People with a sound mind will definitely think twice, knowing that there's a possibility that all these things could be checked off and they could lose their hand.